Welcome to Last in Line podcast, where we are highlighting, showcasing, and spotlighting great leaders of faith who have overcome adversity, cultivated resilience, and served others in a significant capacity. So settle in and be encouraged by this episode of Last in Line podcast. Gentlemen, welcome back to Last in Line podcast. I am your host, John Shibley. Good to be here with you again, as usual. Excited for what you guys are doing in your lives. I'm excited about the commitment you guys have made. You're listening to not only this podcast, but others. You're reading books. You're loving your family. You're loving Jesus. You're going to work every day, and you're grinding consistently, and that's not nothing. So proud to know you, which a lot of you I may not know, but proud to feel like I know you through this microphone, through this technology. Thanks for being here, as usual, faithful listeners. This is a cool episode because I could have gone a couple different directions with this, and I really don't want it to come across as sort of a negative take on this topic. But I promise you, I'm going to spin it into ways for you to win, ways for you to get better, like we always do. That's our commitment to you, to create more servant-minded leaders, better leaders, people with influence in a good way, following Jesus, leading like Jesus, and loving people. So today, look, there's a lot of talk right now, or over the last few years even, about genuine authenticity. And I feel like it's a rarity. I feel like it's a commodity now. And I feel like we're having to call it out when we see it, because it is or has gotten so rare. And to say somebody is an authentic person 20 years ago and beyond was just a given. It's just automatic. It's just what people want it to be. Now it feels like we have to get so laser focused to identify the authentic person, the genuine person, people who are transparent and humble enough to just be real. Those of you who host podcasts that listen, those of you who know hosts, myself being a host, I love it when I get somebody on that's just real. And I point out to them how grateful I am that they're just authentic. And to me, that's one of the biggest compliments we can give somebody, is just how genuinely authentic they are. But what I'm baffled by is that we have to call that out. We have to make notice of that, because it's not everywhere. In fact, it's rarely anywhere. And so I'm blessed to know several people who are this way, who are just naturally authentic, because this is who they are. What you see is what you get, and they're okay with the circumstance, the consequence, the reality of, you know what, I'm just not overwhelmed by people pleasing people, or them liking me, if I have to compromise my ethics, my morals, my integrity, my character, my authenticity. So I was literally 30 seconds before I hit record on this about to switch topics and just go from the off the cuff with a different theme tonight, because I don't want this to turn into a complaining session about how few authentic people there are. That's not what I'm going for. But today I'm going to talk to you a little bit of how to identify kind of why people are not always authentic, what we're trying to accomplish with some of the facades and the personas and the masquerades we carry around in our day. But I'm also going to give you 3 whys and 3 hows to win. So why to win, how to win with genuine authenticity. So this episode is going to be called Stakeout the Fake Out. That might be as good as the episode gets right there, because that's a pretty catchy title, and I'm pretty proud of that. So for those of you that are into witty, kind of clever stuff like that, I mean, yes, I will take credit for that. That is mine. That is unique. You can have it if you want it. But stake out the fake out. So we're going to be able to tell kind of what we're looking for. And why that's important is not just to stand here and be a guy that's telling you it's raining. It's going to be a guy that tells you why it's important that I have your umbrella to get you out of that situation. So we're going to be able to identify reasons and signs of inauthenticity, fake, phony, facade, imposter, poser, you fill in the blank with whatever synonym you want, adjective you want. But if we can identify it, then we know how not to come across in our own lives. We know how to make adjustments in our own personality and our own character so that we don't come off that way. So I don't know why we're afraid of authenticity. I mean, I kind of do, but I don't know why it's so rare. We've gotten so consumed with portraying such false narratives about our life. We don't want to appear that we don't have it all together. We think that our status is dependent on admiration of other people, thinking that we just have all the answers and that we just live this shiny, buttoned up existence. And that's one negative about social media is you don't really see people's real side, right? You don't see their the mindset coach driving down the street and somebody cuts in front of him. You don't see the positive thinker that screams at the guy that just cut him off, right? You only see the mindset positive guy that's giving you 3 reasons why mindset's important and they've got all the secrets. Nothing wrong with them encouraging people that way, but I'm about real. I'm about trying to be real. In fact, there's an app called Be Real, as you know. I'm not in on it, but my kids, my wife usually partake in that. But I like it for the reason that it just shows ordinary people in their ordinary lives doing ordinary things most of the time. But we like to create this fictional storyline of our existence because more than ever, we've placed on the back burner, kind of in the cheap seats, we place the importance of the acceptance of our Father in heaven, playing for an audience of one, which is Jesus. Like we've put that on the side and we've kind of nudged in the forefront, the affirmation and admiration of our peers, of society, of our coworkers, whatever, our family even. So we're so entrenched in the need for validation. We get that. That's not a secret. But I think that's why we create our own fictional storylines through our social media, through our conversations on the phone, because we have to seem like everything's great when it's a dumpster fire at home or your business is falling apart. But when Joe calls you and just to check in and say, how's it going? Everything's fine, Joe. Like, I think we're inauthentic, we're disingenuous when we come across. Now, I'm not saying we got to, bare our souls every conversation to every person. I don't think we got to air our dirty laundry all the time, all of our dirty laundry. I'm not saying that either. We don't dump on people just for the sake of being authentic. But in general, normal, everyday interaction, work life, home life, conversations, church, the gym, whoever, like strangers even, like let's work on figuring out how we can just be us. And how if God's okay with you the way you are, he created us and he said it already that he was okay with us before we were ever born. He looked at man and said, that's very good. And so I think we just need to kind of accept that we are enough. We are good enough for him. So let's stop trying to be fake and something else, posing as someone else to other people. I mean, growing up, I was a big baseball card guy. Love baseball cards. Still kind of am enamored by some of the rare finds that are out there. Some of the priceless baseball cards of people, superstars that are out there that are, when there's less amount of a certain card, the more value it has. But in order to validate and verify its legitimacy, you have to obtain a certificate of authenticity. And that requires a lot. Like that, it requires an investment. You have to send it off to this entity that validates it and runs all these checks and tells you what kind of condition it is, and they verify that it's legitimate and it's a real card of a real guy, and it's not a fake, it's not an imposter. Okay, so it's authentic. That drives the value up. I think the same's for us. Like, the more authentic we are, I think people start to value our contribution, our presence, our relationship with us. I think they start to value that whenever they've identified that we are, in fact, who we say we are. We are acting how, in fact, we claim to be acting. And not that acting is what I'm going for here. That was just the term I used. But some people really are acting when they're in a social environment because they know that really and truly life isn't great behind closed doors. And so, I think rather than teach you or talk to you tonight about how to spot an imposter who might be posing out there, who's virtue signaling in order to gain your acceptance or has an ulterior motive to get something from you, rather than have you try to put everybody under a microscope and nitpick and judge and critique everyone's mannerisms, everyone's tone, everyone's words, everyone's eye contact, body language. Like, I'm not trying to have you dissect everybody that you come across, but I think deep down in your gut, the Holy Spirit will quicken you in those moments to identify if you can trust somebody, if someone's valid in their character, if someone's integrity is intact. So that's not what this is going to be about tonight. I don't want to create paranoia. I don't need to create negativity or resentment or, make some relationship in your life toxic because you've decided to be hypersensitive to mannerisms and vocabulary and what you think their intent might be. But I think if we can take the lead, if we can yield to the Holy Spirit and we can take our cues, is what I'm trying to say, from the Holy Spirit, he will tell us when maybe there's something fishy about a conversation, or a relationship maybe doesn't need to go any further because the person might just be a fake. They might just be inauthentic. So there was a study actually done, and I had a lot of data that I had looked up online. I came up with some .com that was salon.com or something. That's pretty manly, isn't it? Well, they did a study about authenticity and just kind of the ways people come across, the ways that we're looking at people when we don't find them super genuine. But there's a person named Erica Bailey, who was a PhD candidate at Columbia Business School's management department. And she said, and I liked this one, of all the study I did, of all the research I did, I came up with this one quote from her. Dr. Bailey says, authenticity is robustly linked to increased happiness, well-being, and better engagement with work. If we can be comfortable in our own skin, and other people around us can perceive our ability to be genuine and natural and real, down to earth, right? I believe that opens so many doors for not only trust, for collaboration, for friendship, for confiding in each other, for sharing experiences and conversations. So I think it opens up a lot of doors when we build that bridge between us and someone else, us in a business relationship, us and a spouse, us and a friend, somebody that we're, a client potentially. I mean, that's really all sales is. In my life, I've been fairly successful, but it's because I don't want to be a salesperson when I walk in the door. I'm not trying to either know more than someone else. Yes, I'm a trusted, incredible resource, but I'm not trying to puff my chest out and make the customer think I know everything. I'm not trying to shove product down their throat that they don't need. I'm not trying to pretend I'm somebody I'm not. So I'm not as concerned with the outcome of a sales call as I am the conversation with another human being and earning that trust, building that credibility, leaving the door kind of open for comfort level and just natural flow of conversation and rapport with somebody. So if you're out there, and whether you're in sales or not, you're in the business of relationships because you interact with people every day. You know, I don't think we have anybody in the monastery listening. I don't think we have any cave people that are isolated on an island with nobody. So I think you're going to run into some people. These are staples in your everyday life of how to become more authentic, how to come across as being down to earth and real, and why that's important. So I've got 3 whys and I got 3 hows on winning this, I want to say challenge. I want to say this contest, this competition really within ourselves, or really living up to this standard of genuine authenticity, because it's going to open so many doors for us. Will we ever arrive at the most perfect, authentic human being? No, because we don't want to air our dirty laundry with everybody. Okay. There's only this inner circle that really gets to know the deepest, darkest things about us. But in everyday life, I believe there's ways we can be more genuine, more authentic, more real, more honest, and people will see it. And I have no doubt that, you know, body language, eye contact, just different mannerisms, the way you come across. So I know there's ways technically, tactically to instill this feeling of authenticity when you come into contact with people. But here we go. Let's see if I can't mess all this up and twist it back to front, upside down, and all sorts of ways. But so why the 3 whys and the 3 hows? Okay, the first one I'm going to give you is like, so why we're authentic seems pretty intuitive, pretty self-explanatory, but deception is manipulation. So not being genuine, not being authentic can downright be just dishonest. And we all know where that gets us. You may win for a little bit. You may win that sprint, but the marathon you're losing. Okay. You're going to lose in the long run. So it's not worth it. The juice isn't worth the squeeze on being somebody you're not, or pretending to be somebody that you're not. I think the more upfront, the more real we are from the beginning, we don't have to try so hard, right? We don't have to keep up with our own false narrative. We don't have to try to understand our own fictional storyline that we're creating just to impress somebody. We don't have to. It's too confusing. It's too stressful. So how do we win? Well, we add value to the relationships by securing genuine trust. And that's what I was talking about earlier, because why we're authentic is because deception and manipulation are the antithesis of authentic. It's the antithesis of integrity. So you're really deceiving people when you're not being real with people. And really that's all about manipulation, because you're trying to make them like you. You're trying to make them affirm you, accept you, do what you need them to do. You know, so you're putting on a facade in exchange for something. That's manipulation. And you're going to lose in the end. I'm just telling you. So I'm giving you 3 ways to win. That's a losing formula if you're going to continue to be fake and pretend to be somebody you're not. So that's number 1. Why authentic? Because deception's manipulation. And how do we win? We add value to relationships by securing genuine trust. Second one, okay, for why. So the whys and the hows, right? Of genuine authenticity. So the why authentic, number 2, people crave this down-to-earth, genuine article. I don't know whether you know it or not, but you can flip on any news channel right now and get pretty much the epitome of fake and phony and disingenuous and just flat out dishonest. But you can see right through people. You can look at Capitol Hill. You can look in any sort of political realm, most of the media, obviously Hollywood, they get paid to be somebody they're not, but that's their job. I'm not knocking them, but we can turn on the TV and get a heavy dose of inauthentic people. So I think there's so much of that. The fact that authenticity is rare and people just being people, being human, understanding that they aren't perfect, they don't have all the answers, understanding that we are flawed, right? But by the grace of Jesus, by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony, we overcome that. We've been redeemed, okay? And the cross did that for us. So I think as Christians, we can walk in boldly, confidently, in humility. We can walk in in this servant mindedness, gratitude, some of the qualities, some of the attributes really that lend itself to more authentic people, transparency, so I think we can walk in these situations, and I think people are craving that. So that's our why. Why do we want to be more authentic? Because people are hungry for it. People are going to respond to you because you're different. They're getting tired of seeing so many people trying to win people over by being this fake human, this person that maybe has it all together, this boastful, proud person that thinks they've got life by the what. And people want to see real. People, not to use a weird kind of gruesome example, but we all turn our heads when we pass a car accident, right? Because because that's just what we gravitate toward, this train wreck of a situation, or broken people who are transparent and authentic about what has happened in their lives or what they've done wrong or how they've been wronged. And they're transparent about it, but they're like, look, this is who I am, but I overcame this. Like, people are drawn to that story is what I'm trying to say. So people are craving the genuine article. If you can be that, you're going to have this magnetic sense to your personality that if you're in sales, it's going to win people. It's going to influence people. If you're trying to find a spouse, that's going to be attractive. If you're trying to have influence with your children, they're going to like seeing that you're real. You're not trying to be cool dad. You're not trying to be their best friend. You're trying to be a guy that cares about them and is actually going to be honest with them. The truth in love is biblical. So how do we win in that department of people that crave down to earth? I say you build a network by serving and adding value. This is how you build your network around you. And some might say that sounds manipulative in itself, trying to be authentic so you can build a network. No, I think it's important to have a network of good people. I think it's important to have people that are gravitate toward your personality because you're rare, because you're authentic and you're real. I think there's a need for that in the world. I mean, wouldn't you vote for that guy on a ballot if you knew he was real and honest and authentic and humble and grateful and wanted to serve you beyond his own needs and beyond his own agenda? Wouldn't you vote for that person? Of course you would. So build a network by serving and adding value. You're adding value just stepping into a situation, being truthful, being honest, being open, being genuine. Done. You've already won people over because it's so rare now. So that's the second one. Why authentic? Well, people are craving it. And then how? You build that network by bringing and adding value. So number 3, why authentic? Well, why not, right? I mean, that sounds kind of like a dumb rhetorical question, but why authentic? Why do people crave that? Why do they want? It relieves the pressure. Okay. Why do we want to be authentic? It relieves the pressure and decreases our anxiety. There's freedom in authenticity. There's freedom in just being, hey, spiritually, I'm just kind of naked out here. I'm relationally, emotionally, I'm naked. Please don't say that I told you to go out and get naked physically, because I did not say that. But we can be just kind of out there, right? This is me. take it or leave it. Like, God affirms me, my wife affirms me, my family affirms me. Beyond that, if you don't affirm me, I mean, there's plenty of other people you can go affirm, I guess. I don't need it. But that's freeing to know that I just have to go be me, and I'm okay with it. Um, I don't know. I don't know what else to say about that, because I think by now you're starting to understand, look, if you're not already a fairly authentic human being, I think you're thinking, well, I've got some work to do here. And there's actually reasons that make sense as to why I need to put some work in on it. There's a win for you in this. There's 3 here that I've given you. But why authentic? Well, because it relieves the pressure. You don't have to keep up with this false persona that you continue to portray. It's tiring. It's confusing. It's it gets dizzy after a while, because you're just kind of going round and round on this hamster wheel of a life that you want people to think you have, when behind closed doors you're yelling at your wife, you're not talking to your kids, you're pissing off coworkers, you business is in shambles, you haven't picked up your Bible in a year. I mean, but yet when you're out, in the real world, everybody thinks you've got it all together. So I think we take the pressure off the more real we are with people, the more authentic we are with people. And I read the quote by Dr. Bailey earlier, and I'll read it again. Authenticity is robustly linked. So that means widely, abundantly, you add whatever you want to that, robustly linked to increased happiness, well-being, and better engagement with work. That was just a study done last year, by the way. That was published last year. So it's worth it. You win. You're free. Okay. If people don't accept you how you are, that's okay. Stay honest, stay true to yourself, keep your integrity intact, be honest, be real, be transparent, be authentic. You will win in the end. It's a marathon, right? And at the very least, guess what you'll hear? When you go home to be with the Father, you'll hear, well done, good and faithful servant. And that's what we're all trying to hear. So how do we win when it comes to this? Why authentic in this regard? It relieves the pressure, right? So how do we apply this? Stop keeping up with the social media Joneses. Stop keeping up with any of the Joneses. And God bless the Joneses. I'm sorry they got the raw deal on this cliche or this saying, but keeping up with the Joneses, man, is what keeps you wearing this mask every day. Can't let the Joneses see the real you, right? We got to feel like we're in this competition. We're in it to win it, right? We're keeping up with everybody that looks like they've got it. Well, guess what? They don't have anything any more together than you do. So we're all looking around going, I got to look like this, but I really am this. And nobody is being real. So everybody's living a fake facade. And why don't we all just take the masks off? Why don't we all just bare our souls and just get out there and just be real, just be people? You know why? Because we put so much pressure on each other to get the most likes, get the most followers, get the most shares of our posts, to get the most likes of our reels, our videos, to share what we think is our bright, shiny life and get all this affirmation. But then what? We got to go look in that stupid mirror again. And nobody likes that. If you're putting on a show, you don't want to pass that mirror in the hallway. You're avoiding that. You're not looking that guy in the mirror. So let's get real with ourselves, guys. I mean, I think this could potentially come across as sort of a therapy session, but it's really not. It's pretty practical, tactical, fundamental ways for you to win by just understanding why this authentic component is so important and how you can actually apply it in real world. And it's pretty easy because that's how we were wired. That's how God made us. That's what his intention was. I mean, we're created in his image. So I don't remember him ever being fake, trying to impress everybody. So neither should we. And ultimately, you're going to lose in the long run, because the real you will eventually come out. All the facades that are hidden, all the real stuff that's hidden in the darkness will come to light. So I say we just get it out there, shine the light on ourselves. Let's get out in front of this. Let's understand that counterfeit isn't cool. Genuine authenticity is rare. It's in demand. People are craving it. So we have a leg up if we can just be real with folks and step into these situations with true humility, true servanthood, true gratitude, true transparency. You win in the end. With that, be blessed.